Shane here, daily-astrocat.com. I got astrology for you. Astrology for Monday, the 10th of November. So here we are. So the moon in Cancer, the moon's going to be in Cancer till about 12:23, where it's going to go void of course. You know how long is it going to go to void of course for? Not long, because it's going to enter Leo at 12:34. Do the math. Okay, that's 9 whole minutes. Correct. Maybe. Nah, 11. Okay. Do the math quicker than I did. All right, so that's pretty darn quick if you ask me. The morning is for improved communications. Now, that sounds rather oxymoronic with Mercury retrograde. However, by slowing things down, we are learning ways to better document, organize our words and thoughts. Ooh, that's something I can use, right? Now, for this guy, this is a vital step in my professional development. For the astrologer, I use the phrase pretty darn quick. Retrograde indeed. PDQ, baby. All right, so the moon in Cancer will trine both Neptune and Saturn. Oh, we need to be creative around some of the static and negative attitudes that are, call it success, is starting to generate, right? Yep, the resistance. Yes, the resistance. Follow this advice. Follow the advice, right? Use Saturn and Neptune, right? Do that. Get creative to get around some of that static. Use this advice and try. And by this afternoon, can't see. By this afternoon, there will be no disputing who has risen to the occasion. That's you. Now, today's keyword is roar, because Leo. The color is an arrangement in orange, gourds, pumpkins, and persimmons and mandarins. Behind me on the table. Yes, that's what my wife likes to do for the holidays. She puts a spread out, and she will decorate, and then the cats will promptly jump up there and pull things over and start chewing crispy bits of things that should not be chewed, like fabric and ribbons and things like that, because they're cats and this is what they do. And then inevitably they will eat enough of that and they will deposit it back on the floor in the most charming fashion, kind of rearranged, a little less artfully though. Now, there will be no shortage of people lining up to take credit for things today. Oh, yeah. Yeah, now that it looks like we're going to break the deadlock of the government shutdown, oh, the hot air, right? Now, once that moon enters Leo and opposes Pluto, something is beginning to give, and those who are blowing their own horn will be full-on boast. Brag mode. For the more humble sorts, that's us, right? We're going to use nimble actions to deftly deflect criticism. Everything needs to be in order as we prepare to not just expand and grow, but to do so on a more consistent basis. Our retrograde lesson, right? That's one of them at least. Now, our capacity for learning is vital to our long-term trajectory. This retrograde is an opportunity to slow down, dig deep, and become much more thorough. All right. So today, this is all about attitude, right? The big picture says that enough is enough. Now, as far as Venus is concerned, she wants more. And emotionally, we'll feel this, and we're going to strive to deliver. Use the morning wisely and use your latter part of the day decisively. I told you to keep an eye on cryptocurrencies. They're starting to trend. For now. All right, so Mercury retrograde, we got Jupiter going tomorrow. So that extends Jupiter's stay in Cancer, which is pretty good for us because we've been working on these home things, and it's going to give us a chance to really go back and get the things done that should have gotten done, and then we're going to be able to move forward in a much more organized fashion, particularly if we've done the right things, right? Now, what else is going on astrologically? Well, we've got a nice trine early in the morning with Neptune and Saturn and the moon. So that's where that creativity comes into play. How are you feeling? What is it that you want to be accomplishing? Do you feel discombobulated? Do you feel kind of scrambled? Look at it as an opportunity to rein in on stuff and just be able to slow things down. Slow the field down just a little bit. You don't have to respond to everything in the moment. We can take our time and say, let me think about that. Now, sometimes I do that with some of my replies to folks that send in things to me on the various social media things if they ask me something. Now, one that I haven't answered is, do I do readings? And the problem with that is that there's a problem with that because I have very little time. So I don't think that my readings would be worth the amount of money that I would have to charge to have it be worth my time. Now, because obviously there's going to be, there's probably about 2 to 3 hours that go into preparing a reading. You have to do a chart. You have to be able to analyze the chart. You have to be able to progress the chart. There's a lot of things you have to do. And there's a lot of preparatory work that goes into it. So that is why I'm not very quick to folks when they say, do you do readings? Okay. Yeah. I mean, can I? Of course I can. Of course. Now, have I charged anybody for a reading or anything like that? No, I haven't, because every once in a while I will do one as a favor. All right. And that's where I'm at with that. So what are we doing? How am I doing? Well, all things being equal and everything being said, just fine. Thank you. Now, what else is it that you want to be doing? Think about it. Think about what you do. Think about how you actually go about earning your living. What is making your Cancer stuff, your home stuff, what is making it more bearable for you, more livable, and how are you expanding in that area? Okay, it's certainly not going to be for either $50 or $100 for 3 hours worth of work. So how is it that you are planning on being able to do what it is that you do, and do you love it? Now, this stuff here doesn't gain any income, but I love it to the point where it's just been so automatic that I just do it, okay? There's not a point of being monetized doing it. It's just a point to reach out and help people and to really just be able to give you the most to go forward and help other folks too, right? Just want to help. That's it. That's where we're going. So anyway, rather long way of saying that, yeah, I don't do readings. Could I? Yeah, I could. Would it be worth my time? Probably not. So, and then I would get really into it too, and it would just start to clog everything up. It would have an impact on what I do here, and that's the thing that I'm most reluctant to do. I prefer to keep my stuff going, as they call mundane astrology, right? It's the daily. It's definitely, it's not orrery astrology, because orrery astrology is all about picking the best time. Like, say, oh, what's the best time for me to get married? Where do I want to get married at? You could do an orrery chart for that, right? Horary, orrery. You could do that. Or, you could, and then they have that geo, places on the earth that best vibe with you. There's people that do that too. There's people that do strictly financial too. There's all sorts of kinds of stripes of astrologers out there. I just happen to be one that likes talking to you on these various platforms and spreading some astrological knowledge about aspects, about houses, about whatever it is that we happen to talk about. Now, in mundane astrology, which is what we're doing here, we don't really discuss houses that much. We can when the moon is actually full, but the houses actually pertain to where you're at on the planet. So, and, the particular time zone you're in, right? So, I mean, you really don't want to, we don't really get into that because, what is a horoscope? Well, basically, it's a map of the sky at the time you were born. And that is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. In 1885, a German engineer, Gottlieb Daimler, unveils the world's first motorcycle. Now, can you imagine if Gottlieb were around today and saw the e-bikes and e-scooters? What have you done? Okay, that's one. All right, so that's number one. And our birth is another German fellow, and he is Friedrich von Schiller. Now, not a household word. He's a poet, and he's a lyricist, but you know him if you ever heard the Ode to Joy. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. He's born in Marbach am Neckar, and he's that happens to be in the Kingdom of Württemberg, if you were keeping track of things. And he died in 1905. He died very old, 1805. All right, and that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Those are my retrograde ramblings for today. Thank you so much. Appreciate and love every single one of you. Today's a little bit better. It's a 6. Happy astrocatting.